over his shoulder, looking behind his back, making sure that the authorities don't catch up with him. Okay? So you see the concreteness, if you will, of this term and how it relates. So now it's saying that he's going to be always searching, always looking. And keep in mind, we're talking about Cain. Keep in mind, we're talking about Cain being of the wicked one. So what does this tell us about those who are of that particular seed? That they're always searching, continue searching. There's a passage that Brother Shaul mentions, and he's talking about those who are always studying, always seeking, but never being able to come to the truth. Think about that. Okay? So that's the term for fugitive, which is nuah. Now let's look at the term translated as vagabond. If you don't mind, I just have to make a minor change here. I'll leave up what's necessary. I think it's interesting that that's all you have to change. Now this word is nude. Nude. And of course the dollar is your door. Okay. Now, the number is 5110. Okay, again the word nude, again it's a primitive root. It means to nod, waver, wander, move to and fro. So, similar to the other term, nuah, which means continue, searching. What you have here is continue, but then you have a door, and what the door does, it moves back and forth. You can look at a door in our sense and move back and forth, or you can look at it in the sense of a tip, where you open up the flaps of the tip, or you pull up the flaps of the tip, but it's still moving, it has motion. So the thought is with the term nude is to move continuously back and forth, which is why it's translated or tied into nodding, because you're moving back and forth when you nod, or to wander, to move to and fro. So now, not only are you going to be a fugitive, constantly on the lookout for something to happen to you as far as your punishment, but you're always going to be moving around, you see. Now think about that in connection to what we learned about what it means to be deceived. To roam away from the truth. Think about that. And this is talking about what Cain is going to be in the world. All right? Let's go back to the story. It's verse 13, Genesis chapter 4. And Cain said unto Yahweh, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And Yahweh said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain. Listen to that. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain. What is that telling us? Does that mean now that those people who are of the seed of the adversary will also bear a mark? Because remember, the scripture said or taught that Cain was of the wicked one. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Now, in this sense, okay, the mark was used to protect him. So there's a twofold meaning that we can get from this. One, there's the mark is used to identify. Two, the mark, and in that identification, the mark is used to protect to some degree. Okay? Verse 16. And Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh and dwelt in the land of Nod. See, and what's interesting about the play on words here is that where he dwelled was this term right here. He dwelled in a place that's symbolic of continued moving back and forth. Okay? And he dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife. Here's the question. Where did she come from? And you have a whole lot of doctrines now that have been brought out based on this. Where did Cain get his wife from? Because the scripture never specifies that Adam and Eve had daughters. Or did it? Or did it? Okay? So let's move on. Let's think about some things. Sometimes questions are going to be presented to give you something to think about, to meditate on, because the answer is always in the Word. But my point in even interjecting or emphasizing that point is because some people try to run away with it and say that they weren't the only ones created. There were some other people created somewhere else, and that's where the wives come from. Not so. Again, that's a suggestion, because logically speaking, when we look into this word, and we're going to touch on reason and logic later on in the lesson, but for right now, logically speaking, in the mind of the reader, okay, the Bible said that Cain was born. It said that Abel was born. That's only 2 sons. So where would the wife come from? So, you know what? That's the Bible not telling the truth. The Bible is telling a bunch of lies. Because if they had a wife, that means there had to be some other people somewhere. No. That's the way that the adversary does things. But see, what people fail to realize is that with each son, a twin was born. A daughter. Okay? Where does it say that in the Bible? See, what's interesting, the more you get into the Hebrew and you learn and understand what different terms mean or what they are used for, then you'll actually find out it's been there all along. But I'm not going to get into that at this moment. Maybe at another time we'll be able to touch on some of those other things behind the scenes when you get to the original language. But the point being, the fact that Cain is a representative of that seed, that tear, okay, of the adversary. And one of the things that it emphasizes, and Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh. Now let's compare that to what happened to Lucifer. Did not Lucifer also be sent away and had to be removed from the presence of Yahweh? Because in this story, it teaches us underlying what happened to the adversary. So it says, verse 17 again, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Hanok, or Enoch. Now this is the first person named Enoch in the Bible. Okay? And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. So this is Genesis chapter 4. This is the story of Cain and Abel. So let's move on. We're going to still discuss the seed of the adversary. So we're going to turn our attention to Yahudah, or Jude, which is just that one letter, that one chapter. We're going to take a look at a couple passages from here. So, in verse 3 in the book of Jude, it said, Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that you should earnestly contend for the faith. Listen to that, because we started out the lesson discussing the truth about the devil, emphasizing the importance of faith. So he's doing the same thing here. He says to earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints. Now when it says the faith was delivered to the saints, who is he referring to? Who are the sanctified ones? Who are the ones that were set apart? And from their lives we learn. Let's start with the example that we looked at earlier. It says that Abraham believed Yahweh, and it was counted to him as righteousness. So we go back and we earnestly contend for what Abraham had, for what Yitzchak had, for what Yaakov had. That's the faith of the saints. And what did they believe? They believed Yahweh.